Ms. Whittaker, you've summoned Mr. Schrull to court to prove that he is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Brinley.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say that Mr. Schrull has doubt only because of his conniving and manipulative mother, and you want him to man up and take care of his responsibilities. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Schrull, you claim you are not Brinley's father, and once you prove your case, you never want to see or hear from Ms. Whittaker again.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Whittaker, why do you blame Mr. Schrull's mother for his denial?
Because he's a mama's boy. She has never done anything but come in between our relationship. Even when we were having fights in our relationship, she was always in the middle of it. It was never just me and him, it was me, him, and his mother.
Are you a mama's boy, Mr. Schrull?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
I know that's right. Say it loud and proud. So do you believe your mother has come in between your relationship with Ms. Whittaker?
There were times that she would, but
Explain.
it was just to protect me.
How long were you all dating?
2.5 years.
Really? Take me back to that relationship.
We fell in love from the beginning. We were never separated. We probably spent 3 days apart in the entire almost 3 years we were together. From the time we started dating, our parents let us spend the night together. We were either staying at my house.
Wait. They what?
Yes. They let us stay the night
When you
together.
started dating, your parents let you spend the night together?
Yes.
At each other's homes?
Yes. At one point, we were completely living together. Him and his mother moved into my house with me and my mother. And
What? They moved into the house with you and your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And you all were having sex and both mothers knew it?
Yes.
I've never heard of such, Ron.
Several times a day.
What in the world? This is horrible.
Yeah.
Do you go to school?
Well, yes, we were going to school, but we both ended up dropping out our junior year in high school. I dropped out.
That's it. Classic case, babies having babies. This is it. These are not the type of extracurricular activities you need to be engaging in when you're in school.
I completely agree, but since then I've gotten my GED.
I am very proud of you for getting your GED.
Thank you.
But I want to understand something, because you said Mr. Schrull's mother was getting in the way of your relationship. Well, if you all were all living together, why do you say she doesn't like you and she was interfering in a relationship? Sounded like she was putting it together.
She was always in the middle of our relationship. She even made the comment one time that I can't wait till you're 18 because I'm going to beat your ass. And then when she found out I was pregnant, she said, I guess I can't do it anymore now.
Mr. Schrull, did you know your mother didn't care for Ms. Whittaker?
She cared for her. I don't know where that she didn't care for her comes from, because anytime Miss Whittaker needed to talk to her, she'd come to my mom. She'd call her Mama.
Really? Did you call his mother Mama?
Yes, because we were together for 2.5 years. Our families were each other's families.
So was this a committed relationship?
We were together for 3 years, yes.
Together or committed?
I ended up...
That's two different things.
I had proposed to her the same day that her dad had proposed to her mom, the same way and everything that her father had done it.
Well, that was romantic, so you had planned to marry her.
Yes, Your Honor.
We were actually going to get married in May, the year that I found out I was pregnant, and I had bought his ring and my ring and everything.
And I can see that makes you sad to think about that.
Yeah, because we were really happy at one point. And I thought it was going to be forever.
Both of you are acting like you were committed, but if you were committed and nobody did anything outside the relationship, you wouldn't be here. No. So let's get to the real details.
What happened? What had happened? Her mom had passed away.
Okay.
And she got put in a foster home, and once she turned 18, she went with family.
I'm sorry to hear that, Ms. Whittaker.
Thank you.
Very sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And so at that time, you all were separated. You were no longer living together.
I was fed up with it. I was getting constant accusations of cheating, and I never once cheated on her, and I would always say the person with the guilty conscience is the one who had done it, and then that would come up.
What's that?
She had cheated on me.
How did that come up?
It took a little bit for it to come out, but eventually it did come out.
She admitted it?
Yes.
Did you admit it, Ms. Whittaker?
Yes, I did. First, Your Honor, no, that's not how all of this happened. That's not how we separated.
Okay, let me hear your side of it.
When my mother died, I got taken into DHR custody. I was only 17. I was 8 months from being 18. Anyway, they put me with my aunt. And me and Christian were fighting all the time. I was hormonal, I was pregnant. His mother refused to let him come to my doctor's appointments.
Okay, hold that story right there. I want to get to it. So you're pregnant at the time when this fighting?
Yes, I'm pregnant. I found out I was pregnant exactly 1 month after my mother had passed away.
Okay.
I was already in DHR custody when I found out I was pregnant.
All right. So you are dealing with all of that, then you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am.
You let him know.
Yes,
At the time you let him know, how did you let him know? Phone call? You saw each other?
My social worker put me in a room and let me call him and tell him I was pregnant. And he was actually very excited. He said, I love you. We're going to get through this no matter what. I'm always going to be with you. I said, you know you have to tell your mother. Now, I was told that I couldn't get pregnant, and I thought I was never going to have a family. And I just lost the last bit of my family because my father had passed away when I was younger. I was so happy because now I had a family. And when he told his mother, I could hear her screaming in the background, oh God, no, why? Kill me now, why?
Really?
No.
She was screaming to the top of her lungs, and she took that moment from me. She took it from me because I was so happy I finally had a family, even though I just lost mine, and she took my happiness away.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Let me hear from your mother.
Oh, thank you.
Please
so
stand,
much,
ma'am,
Your Honor.
and step up to the podium. Ms. Blackwell, you're Mr. Schrull's mother. Give
Because
your side of the story.
Them staying together and sleeping together was never okay with me. This started at her house, and I begged her mother, please don't let this happen. It's not happening at my house. Y'all are too young for this kind of relationship. Her mother couldn't do anything with her.
Please don't bring my mother into this because she's dead and she can't defend herself, and I would very much appreciate it if you kept her out of it.
Well, she has something to do with it.
Well, she's
How
not
can
here,
I
so
not
we
get
cannot
my
talk
point
about her.
across if I cannot speak of her?
All right. When you found out she was pregnant, did you think the baby was your grandchild?
I did because my son believed at the
No, you
time
didn't. You told
he
me from the
was.
beginning that's not his child.
Not until she admitted to me 7 times that she cheated.
7 times cheating.
Yes, she told me there were 7 possibilities.
7
Oh,
possible
God. Oh, my Lord.
other fathers?
There is only one other man that I slept with the month that I got pregnant. In our entire relationship, I didn't even sleep with 7 other people.
No. That's a lie right there.
What's a lie, Mr. Schrull?
That she only slept with.
You can say whatever you want to say, Christian, but you know because I told you before I even knew I was pregnant. I told you the day after I cheated on you what happened, why it happened, how I felt about it, why I was sorry about it.
Well,
and
tell
you said,
me.
I don't
Tell
care.
me what happened. Tell the court.
It wasn't something I was proud of, and he's not even a possible factor for the father. I have my conception date right here.
I'd like to see that evidence. Will you hand it to me, please?
I conceived at the beginning
Thank
of
you.
August. I did not sleep with him until the end of August.
So let me understand this. You've prepared a calendar for the court.
Yes, ma'am. I slept with Christian every single night, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
I don't remember all that.
Wow.
I don't remember all that.
These days are outlined completely every day.
Every day.
From the 2nd
I don't remember any
to
of
the
that.
31st, you had sex with Mr. Schrull.
You don't remember that? We lived together for 3 years. We had sex every single day. How do you not
Okay.
remember that?
How do we sleep together when you're either in a foster home or you're at a girl's home or you're living
I
with your
wasn't
aunt
in a
Burton?
foster home at the beginning of August. I wasn't in a foster home until August 30th. My mom didn't die until August 28th. I think I would remember this. This is why I remember this so clearly because it was the most traumatic event I'd been through.
You show that you had sex with Mr. Schrull all of these days, but then you had sex with another man somewhere around the 14th.
Yes.
You also have the 8th circle. Explain this. That is your alleged conception date?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain.
I have a picture of a sonogram, and it said 20 weeks and 1 day. And we counted back 20 weeks and 1 day, and it was August 8th.
Okay.
You refute this calendar, Mr. Schrull. You don't believe this went down this way?
No, I don't.
And you also believe when you say she was here or there or everywhere, is it your assertion that you believe she was also having sex with other people as well, and that fuels your doubt?
Yes, because
Explain that to me.
It came out to me after she was pregnant. It came out that there are more than one possibility.
When did this come out?
This came out when she was maybe 3-4 months pregnant.
How did it come out?
She
Who told
me.
you that?
She told her.
And that's a load of crap.
Y'all just having sex. Y'all know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You have no clue. Just kids engaging in adult activity, absolutely no idea of the consequences, and you don't even understand your body, how it works, or how conception is formulated. So the real truth is, you can tell that 14th date, that's in the window, baby. Did you use protection when you had the sex with the other
No,
man?
Your Honor.
Okay, moving on. Was he there the day the baby was born?
Yes.
Yep. What happened is I get there, and your little boyfriend at the time wants to talk all big over the phone and say how he's gonna kick my butt and all
My
this.
boyfriend never threatened you at
Wait a
all.
minute, when did we
Yeah,
get a
he-
boyfriend?
After we had separated, I had started dating someone else.
Are you on the birth certificate?
No,
No,
ma'am.
I go there. He cuts the umbilical cord. He's on
He
the
didn't
birth
even cut the
certificate.
umbilical cord.
The
One-
boyfriend's name's on the birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor. I have her birth certificate right here.
So hold on.
So-
This is a birth certificate, certificate of live birth. Brinley Ann Smith, and father's name is Nicholas Dwayne Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
What I want to understand is if you are certain Mr. Schrull is the father, on the day Brinley's born, he does show up to the hospital.
Only because his mother made
I
him.
don't care how he
Oh,
got
that's
there.
not
I
true.
don't
I
care
wanted
if
to
he
be
was
there.
following the sun and the moon and the stars. He got there. He got there. And you say he's the father. Why put another man's name on your child's birth certificate
Well-
if the man that you are so certain is the father is there?
Your Honor, when I woke up from my C-section, he wasn't even there. I woke up the next morning, and on Facebook, Christian had posted stuff all over Facebook about my boyfriend, about my family, saying baby mama drama already. I told him I don't want you to come back.
I wouldn't have even got to hold the baby if it wasn't for the doctors. I don't know the name
My
of the room.
aunt lets you in because she's the DON.
The
No,
nurse.
the nurse.
My aunt is a nurse.
So you got to hold Brinley that day.
Yes.
Did you feel a connection? Did you feel like this is my child?
No, not at all. I looked at her and I told the nurses, I'm like, I don't.
I've got
know.
a
I don't
picture
believe
of the
this is
both
mine.
of them. Tell me this is not his child.
Will you pass that evidence to me, please?
They have the exact same nose. Their eyes are shaped the exact same. How is that not his child?
Thank you. It's a picture of Brinley on the left and
Kind of
Mr.
blurry
Schrull
picture.
on the right. You believe there's a similarity.
Look at their noses. It's a blurry picture that they've got, but they have the exact same nose. They have the exact same eye shape.
And so, how about since Brinley's been born, Mr. Schrull? Have you built a bond? Do you see her?
I honestly don't care to see her until I know for a fact she's mine because there's multiple possibilities to it. That's
In other words,
Why
I've
we're
been
here.
on my own for the past 2 years doing it all by myself. From 18 to 20, I've been doing it by myself.
This is why you have to be responsible for your own life. Honestly. Because you're learning a tough lesson that a lot of young women have had to learn.
Yes, Your Honor, I know.
Mama's baby, papa's maybe. And now you're standing in front of me. I've heard enough. I'm ready for the results.
Thank you.
Is there anything anyone would like to say before these results are read?
I just want to say that if he is the father, I hope he finally steps up and is in her life.
And I will.
Because she needs a father. And
Ms. Whittaker, I must say, this testimony of yours has kind of changed. You came into this courtroom asserting that he is the father. You are certain there's no other possibility. And now you're saying if he is the father.
he is the father. I know he is. But like I said, he has doubt. I know he's the father.
Let's get the results. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Whittaker versus Schrull, when it comes to 2-year-old Brinley Smith, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Schrull, you are her father.
I am.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
Then I apologize. I apologize for everything. I really do. I'm sorry I put you through this.
I'm just so happy after 2 years that you finally know you can finally start being there.
And I will be.
Give her a hug.
Would you be willing to give me a hug?
Can I give you a hug, Nancy, please?
I'm sorry. I will definitely be there.
That's really nice to see. And I see tears in your eyes, Mr. Schrull. You feel emotional looking at your little girl?
I'm kind of upset about missing that little bit and putting her through what I did. Definitely gonna be there now. That's a fact.
Mr. Robinson, you and your wife say you are not the father of the defendant's son, Travaris, but know who is.
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
claim she deceived you into believing you were the father to collect child support, and as a result of your inability to pay, your driver's license was suspended and your tax return was taken.
Yes, Your Honor.
Today, you're suing Ms. Grant for $124 for license reinstatement fees and plan to return to court in your home state to fight for $1,685.10 in garnished wages.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Grant, you believe Mr. Robinson is denying your son only because he was summoned to pay more than $13,000 in back child support. Am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Robinson, how has this situation affected your marriage?
We had got a letter in mail saying that he was $13,000 arrearage in back time child support.
So before this letter, you didn't know he was even the father?
Well, when me and him met and got married in '09, he told me he had 3 children.
Okay.
And he was not in their life. I made him get in their life. Told him that you doing for my kids, you need to do for your own.
Your Honor,
All
that's
of a
not
sudden,
You say that's not true, Ms.
No.
Grant?
my son never went around them.
yes, he did.
Dexter did claim my child because I have proof here where he went to sign papers and everything.
Yeah, he did sign
And
the paper,
then
but he
when
didn't sign the
when I
birth
was in the
certificate.
hospital,
Well, you
He
had
didn't
you
sign
said
the
you
birth
have proof.
certificate.
Yes. He had the opportunity.
What is this
then.
paperwork?
That is where he signed and say that is his child, and he states that he would pay $60 a month for his child.
This is an affidavit, an admission of paternity, which is basically an acknowledgement of paternity. Did you sign this, sir? That's your signature?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old was Mr. Christian Travaris when this was signed?
I think he was a couple of months, Your Honor.
So this was right after he was born?
Right. And during that time, Dexter was acknowledging that that was his child. I mean, he was coming there. We was going places together. He brought stuff. I mean, we was like as a family. I mean, yeah, he had another family also, but he played the role as a father doing then. A year after my child was born, that's when Dexter went his separate ways and his family started saying he wasn't his and all that.
So take me back. I want to understand this relationship a little bit. You all met and you started a sexual relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
And how long after that did you realize you were pregnant?
We started dating October the 7th, 1989. And
They
we'll
were
go
not
to the-
never in a relationship.
Your Honor, yes, we are. And as a matter of fact, where was you in 1989 when we was together?
Well,
How
I'm
did you
I'm-
know
I'm
what
with
was
him
going
now.
on?
I'm with him now.
Dexter, I slept with you. I did not sleep with your
Well,
wife. Could you
well,
please tell her
it's-
that we
it's
was
my
together?
responsibility now because of
where's we
09.
together?
Ms. Grant, how did this develop into a sexual relationship?
He asked me, he said, you know my birthday is next month. And I said, no. He said, yeah, it's November the 28th. He said, can we get together for my birthday? So in November, we got together at my cousin's house in the back seat of his burgundy Bonneville, and that's where Travaris was conceived. He told me, when we finished having sex, he looked me in my face and he said, Tisha, you are pregnant. It was different. I mean, yeah, prior to Dexter, I had a relationship with Eddie. I can't say it was a relationship. I slept with Eddie.
That doesn't mean
But-
he's the father.
If you having sex with somebody, how is that not meaning that he is the father?
Okay, when you having
But
sex
my
with two
thing
different
is,
men,
So
I was
wait,
with Eddie.
you having two
Let me
different
be
Prior to
clear.
me,
Let me be
Dexter.
clear. Let me be clear. So you had sex with Mr. Robinson
Yes.
in the backseat of this car.
Yes.
But you were also in a sexual relationship with another man during that time.
No, prior to meeting Dexter.
Well, not during the window of conception or during the window of conception?
Not during the window of the conception.
Okay. And that man is here in court today. So you find out you're pregnant, and so after he told you that, when you find out you're pregnant, you instantly think it's Mr. Robinson.
I know it's Mr. Robinson.
So you tell him. How did he respond?
Nothing. I mean, he just took on the responsibility.
So you say he stepped up, he took on the responsibility. So, Mr. Robinson, you do acknowledge you had a sexual relationship with Miss Grant.
I did.
You did, okay. What I want to understand is, you went up and you signed the acknowledgement of paternity. When did you become doubtful?
2 years ago, when this other man approached him and told him that he was the father.
When they
So,
got
Mr.
the paper,
Robinson.
they had to pay $13,000, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Robinson, at some point after you signed this acknowledgement, someone came up to you and said, I'm
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Christian's father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this was just 2 years ago?
Yes, Your Honor.
So all of these years, over 20 years, you thought Mr. Christian was your son and you were paying support?
Yes, Your Honor. This guy, Mr. Eddie, came and told me Montez was his son. But out of all this time, I really thought Montez was my son.
And then what happened after that?
Mr. Robinson came home and told me about it.
This man
What
that they're
friend?
claiming walked up to him and said, I'm really Mr. Christian's father. Do you know who this man is?
I do know him, Your Honor.
And did you have a sexual relationship with him?
Prior to the conceived of Travaris.
So before Mr. Christian was conceived, you were in a sexual relationship with this other man?
Yes.
And that is Mr. Ellis?
That is.
I want to hear from him. Jerome, would you please escort him into the courtroom, please? Mr. Ellis, thank you for being here today. We are, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to Mr. Christian. And we've heard testimony that says you approached Mr. Robinson at some point and said, I'm Mr. Christian's father.
Well,
did that happen?
No, that's a lie. He approached me. He came to me and he said, I heard that Montez was your son. I said, well, hey, man, hey, look, I didn't tell you to go up there and sign them papers. So that's on you. You know, I feel that he is my son because of his mom had approached me and said once.
And I never, Your Honor, I
Oh,
never
yes,
in my
yes.
life told him that he was.
Yes, you have,
his
'cause you-
daddy.
Miss Grant, I'm going to give you a
all.
chance to respond. Let me hear his testimony first.
Because
Mr. Ellis,
Yes.
proceed.
He used to stay with my mom, and all y'all, we call me Pops and whatnot, so hey, I feel he my son, you know?
So you acknowledge that you had a sexual relationship with Miss Grant, and was it during the window of time when Mr. Christian was conceived? You believe that?
Yes.
What did Miss Grant say to you that made you believe that you were
He told me to go get my son out the tree. You know, go and get him out the tree. Acting just like you.
How old was he when she said that?
I think he was probably about 7 or 8, something like that.
So you were just over there and she said, go get your son out the tree.
Yeah.
And then what, you looked at her and you felt like, are you saying to me this is my son?
Exactly.
Your Honor, if my son went up the tree, you know that if my son went up the tree, he'll came down. Now, at the age of 14, my child, I mean, apparently y'all don't know who he is, so where you been all this time?
Well,
if you
man.
claiming to be the father and say, I said at the age of 7 or 8 that he was your child, so why it took you that long to come in and respond to him, and now all of a sudden you saying that he's your child? Where is my support?
Well, hey, look,
I mean, seriously.
I mean,
So who's the bad person
Well,
here?
you told me it wasn't mine.
And my point exactly.
So
I told you he wasn't yours.
Yeah, when you
I
said-
never told you he was.
But when you said it
Exactly.
wasn't mine.
Just like Mr. Eddie
Yeah.
had came and told my husband that Mr.
Well,
Christian
when-
was his child.
Yeah, when you told me it wasn't mine, what I supposed to do?
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I-
So
I
how would I
left it
tell you
alone.
he yours and then I'm
So-
talking about he's
by-
not yours?
by me-
Come on, get your story straight.
So by
Let
me-
me know.
by
That's
leaving
money.
it alone.
What did I
That's
say?
all.
So how would I
left it
tell you
alone.
he yours and then I'm talking about he's not yours?
by me-
Come on, get your story straight.
Going through the years, now you and him then broke up. Now all of a sudden everybody going around saying, hey, Man, that's your son.
Thank you, everybody else. Not Tisha, everybody else saying
You
that he's
said it,
yours.
Will.
Everybody else. Your mom even the one that agreed to say he was yours.
She stayed with my mother.
He stayed his sophomore year of high school with her. We had a falling out. And at that time, he used to spend a lot of time over there because he ran track and played sports with
So he
his
used to
nephew.
spend a lot of time over with Mr. Ellis's family.
Yes.
Yeah.
But why?
Because he was friends with his nephew.
So when he would spend the summers and be involved in your family, you thought it was because he was your family, he was your son.
Of course. Exactly.
All right, so I would like to hear from Mr. Christian. Sir, would you please stand? So, Mr. Christian, were you ever told that Mr. Ellis was your father?
I was told that it could be either of the two.
That it could be either of the two?
Yes, ma'am.
And who told you this?
My mom.
She did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Grant, your son's saying that you honestly told him it could be either of these two men.
Mm-hmm.
In your prior testimony, you said you were only sleeping with Mr. Ellis way before Mr. Robinson.
I was telling the truth earlier. But you know, as a young girl, the community say, he look like him, he look like this, and he look like... So, okay, they drilled it in my head, and I'm like, I know when I had him.
You really think Mr. Robinson is your child's father?
Yeah.
But your community keeps saying that he looks like Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
And so ultimately, you have to tell your son, I really don't know. It could be one of these two men.
Right, because everybody running to him and saying, now, you know Eddie is your daddy and all that. So once everybody was running to him, I said, well, everybody else saying, I said, it could possibly be.
Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Robinson and Mr. Robinson, you're saying you want $124 because you have to apply to get his driver's license reinstated because it was suspended because of failure to pay his support.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe that this was not lawful and not appropriate because he really is not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know exactly why he's on child support. He's on child support because he signed voluntarily an acknowledgement of paternity. He admitted that he was the father legally when he executed that. Do you understand?
Yes.
And this is what's important, is that ignorance of the law is never an excuse. So therefore, I cannot award you the $124 that it would cost to reinstate his license because by signing that document, he acknowledged he's the father, he's responsible for the child support. Your claim is denied. All right, so Mr. Christian, who did you call or regard as your father growing up?
Eddie most of the time.
That would be Mr. Ellis.
Yes, ma'am.
When you thought about dad, when you thought about father, you thought about him.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know that Mr. Robinson was paying child support?
No, ma'am.
You never knew that?
Neither one of them actually did anything. Like, I just, referred to him as more of a father because his family, like he said, they reached out towards me more.
Yep.
Mr. Ellis's?
Yes.
And what about your relationship with Mr. Robinson and his family?
There was no relationship with me and his family.
So you
Your
felt
Honor, we found
rejected
him
by
money.
his family,
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, we
and they
found
would
him
tell
money.
you you're not.
When did you send me money?
We sent you money
When?
to Western Union.
When?
Back in 09.
You show me a receipt and I'll tell you that I'm a lie.
You say you've never received any
I never
money.
received money from either one of them. Throughout college, throughout everything, I got a full athletic scholarship, running track at Mississippi State. Everything for me in college was paid for. Although I thank my mom for all she's done, she went on to finish high school, took college courses, been working at the hospital since I was 8. But that's all I ever had was my mom. True enough, he started trying to interact with me more, when he said, when I was around his family. And that's Eddie, of course. But Dexter never did anything for me. I never had a real father figure in my life. Both of them basically made bad decisions coming up. True enough, he stayed in Michigan and he stayed basically 10 miles away, and I never even had a relationship with him at all.
So, Ms. Grant, I have to ask you, because I'm looking at this handsome young man, smart young man. I can't imagine anybody that wouldn't want to be his dad.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this is about?
It's more of they saying that I want money. I hadn't had money in 25 years, 24 years of his life.
My mom is not money hungry at all.
I worked all my life since he became a child, since I brought him into this world. I've been working
But
since
he's
I was 14.
$13,000 behind. I mean, that's what you
Okay,
want.
but if you was paying child support, you shouldn't be $13,000 behind.
But if you wouldn't
Come
have been, but if you wouldn't have been saying
But you
another
paying
man
him.
was the daddy,
But you
maybe
paying
he
him.
would have been
But you
doing
said
his
this just happened 2
responsibility.
years ago, so what happened to the other 22 years? Why you hadn't paid nothing then?
Neither one of them was around. Neither
Girl,
one was
please, get your life.
I think the way that we can all begin to move forward is to just get the results. Are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Robinson versus Grant, when it comes to 24-year-old Travaris Christian, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Eddie Ellis, you are not the father. Mr. Dexter Robinson, you are not the father.
Thanks God.
There's nobody else?
There has to be at least one more. And I know that's a long time to think back. I think you got some thinking to do. You have an amazing young man here. It's about finding out the answers for your child. He deserves that. Mr. Robinson, Ms. Robinson, I need to inform you that there is no guarantee that you will be released from your obligation to pay those arrears, because under the law, when you sign that acknowledgement of paternity voluntarily, you're responsible. Are you all right, Mr. Christian?
Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm fine. I'm a grown man now. I moved on in life. It hurt, like, for Eddie not to be my father, simply because his family, they look at me more like as a family member.
I'ma still be in your life, either way it go.
I appreciate that.
Ms. Swinton, you have opened this case on behalf of your son because you say he foolishly signed a birth certificate for the defendant's child, who you know is not his son. You are hoping today's DNA results will be negative and the first step towards getting your son off of the birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Walker, you say Ms. Swinton is the reason her son, Mr. Cook, is denying your 23-month-old child, Josiah. You believe her controlling ways are the only reason he is denying your son, and you are here to prove her wrong today. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Ms. Swinton, you opened today's case on behalf of your son. Please explain why.
Your Honor, the reason why I'm here is because, as far as I'm concerned, the child don't look anything like none of us. And basically, I feel like my son is much younger than her. This woman, she's blaming my son as the father because she knows my son is a hard worker, he makes good money, and she figure, why not pin it on him? He'll be a better father than who I probably got pregnant with, because, you know, she messed with a lot of low lives, you know? And my son, you know, he's not the perfect person, but I tell you what, he take care of his kids, and she knows this, okay?
Well,
She
those are
knows
some
this.
strong words, Ms. Swinton.
Oh, yes, it is.
First of all, I got pregnant. It is what it is. She needs to mind her own business. And she needs to accept that that baby there is her son's child.
So can you talk to me about the nature of the relationship with her son, Mr. Cook?
I met her son because she was the candy lady. He used to...
Who was the candy lady? Miss Swinton?
Miss Swinton was the candy lady.
Okay,
Yes.
that's how you met her son?
That's how I met her son. I went to her house because she was a candy lady. She was out of town at that time, so she left her son to be in charge. He opened up the door. Obviously, he liked what he seen. So we started dating. We was dating for 7 years. And may I add, I have another son from him also.
This was a long-term relationship.
Exactly. Sleeping with one person.
All right. So, Miss Swinton, I see you rolling your eyes.
Yes.
What are you feeling at this time? You mad? You mad that she came over to get a piece of your candy, but really got a piece of your son? I'm just saying.
No, ma'am, I'm not mad because, she came and got the candy like what she saw. No, it's not like that. My thing is this. I didn't want my son with an older woman. I wanted him to be with someone on his age. That's the point of it all. Because you get these older females, and it's about a control thing. She has took my son away from me. The attention I used to get, Mother's Day, birthdays. Mother's Day, I went out to dinner, okay? Matter of fact, we went out to dinner a couple of times, you remember? And let me tell you what happened.
What happened?
A year ago, all of a sudden, it stopped. You know what I got for Mother's Day this year?
What?
Nada. You know what I got for my birthday? Nada. He took her mama out for her birthday and didn't take me out for mine.
Okay, but listen. I can understand as a mother, I am the mother of a boy. But I need you to know this is not about her mother and about the dinner. This is about the fact that you say you deny that your son is her child's biological father. Him taking her mama out to dinner doesn't have anything to do with paternity.
Amen.
So, Miss Walker, can you tell me when you found out you were pregnant? Because see, what I'm hearing now is that you all had a long-standing relationship.
Yes.
You got an older child together, and then you find out you're pregnant with Josiah.
Exactly.
Take me back to that day.
We was broke up, but we was still dibbing back and forth.
Oh, so you all had a break.
We had a break, and then we had sex on them breaks.
So wait, how long were you on the break?
She wasn't in the bedroom, so she don't know.
Honey, my son...
Yeah, I hope she wasn't in the bedroom.
Son lied.
Listen, how long were you on this break?
We broke up 2016 due to infidelities and broken promises. I found out in May for Mother's Day. She should have been happy. Hey, you got a grandchild for Mother's Day. But...
So why are you so emotional right now?
Because I need her to accept the child because she is accepting of the first child, but not the second one. You can't pick up the first one and don't pick up the second one.
And that hurts you, and that's why you are feeling so emotional?
Yeah.
Because you know the difference?
Yeah, and then she's a mom too. So she put herself in my shoes.
So, Ms. Swinton, are you treating the children differently? You've been honest so far. So do you treat them differently?
No, I don't treat them different. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. This little baby, I can't pronounce my own grandson, Josiah.
That's the problem, Your Honor. It's Josiah Cook.
Well,
that's
in the Bible,
she's a grandma. She should know.
Well, anyway, in the Bible, it starts with the O. Anyway.
It should start with a J because his name Josiah.
It doesn't even matter. Listen, Your Honor, what I'm trying to get to make it straight to the point.
So, Ms. Swinton, when did you find out she was pregnant? I got to help you stick to the pregnancy. When did you find out Ms. Walker was pregnant?
I found out, basically, it was when she was about 6 months pregnant. And how I found out my son, he got in contact with me and was telling me, he had some doubts. So I was like, well, baby, as a mom, I was like, when last y'all been together?
So your son, as close as you were, your son didn't tell you Miss Walker was even pregnant until she was 6 months pregnant?
Miss Walker didn't tell my son she was pregnant until...
Oh!
She didn't tell him until she was 6 months pregnant.
Okay, now we're talking about something that don't sound right.
Yeah. Bingo.
So, Ms. Walker, when you told Mr. Cook you were pregnant, what was his response?
He was surprised, and I don't know why, because we had sex on that break unprotected.
Well, it would be a surprise if you didn't tell me you were pregnant all the way till you 6 months pregnant.
Well, Your Honor, that you right, but I think his mom had more to do with it because he signed the birth certificate with no problem.
Oh, so you're saying he really believed it and bought in, but you think mom influenced this doubt.
Exactly.
So, Mom, when your son said to you, Mom, Miss Walker's pregnant again, and she didn't tell me it was 6 months, did he express doubt to you, or did you project your doubt onto him?
Basically, he told me he had doubts. So I asked my son, I said, when last you slept with this young lady? He said it was October and March. They had contact. The baby...
And you submitted a calendar to the court to outline that.
Right.
I guess she's a doctor, Your Honor.
Now, this calendar is based upon what your son told you.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I guess she was hiding under the bed,
Okay,
Your Honor, so she know.
He explained to me that they had, they was together October.
Yes.
Then they was together again in the month of March.
Yes.
The baby was born October the 31st. So that means she had to get pregnant in February.
But Miss Walker testified that they were still on a break, but still sleeping together periodically.
Well,
did he tell you that part?
No, he didn't.
Okay. So
he didn't tell me that part.
All right. But I listen, and that does not mean, even though they were sleeping together periodically, that it was during the window of conception. We don't know that. That's why it is a mystery.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's why when you're not in a committed relationship and you decide that you're going to make a recipe to make a baby, that's why it's so problematic.
Right.
Because when you go back to it, the facts aren't as clear because you don't know what you were doing because you're too busy living your best life.
Exactly. Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
He doesn't look nothing like my son. We have what you call, it's like a fish hook mouth. It's like a hook. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the hair gene where we are hairy people, where it grows down in your face. He has none of that. None of that. You look at his little ears, the complexion is totally different.
And you feel like this is a strong family trait.
Exactly.
And I mean, we have to be completely honest as well. You are mom, and I know you all have a relationship, and I can see how much you love your son. Because as much as you are in here and your dramatic flair and how you tell a story, you are very, very animated. I get it. But behind all of that, I do see the tears that you're holding back. I can tell.
I know things. I just want the best for my son. She's not the woman for him. I've heard things from the neighbors and stuff. They told me, make sure he gets a DNA. I'm not trying to make her shame or anything, but we know she fast.
I want to pause in this moment. I see Miss Walker's in tears because I know that was hard for you to hear because people running around saying things about you that you say isn't true. And that is hurtful to hear. This courtroom deals with paternity, but it also deals with relationships and family dynamics every single day.
Right, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not trying to put this young lady down. If he's my grand, he's my grand. If he's not my grand, guess what? He was not going to know the difference. I still want that baby to be a part of our life and for her to bring the child around the house more. He don't cry like he used to cry.
Yeah.
He can't go to the bathroom, but
But I mean, listen, from a mother's perspective, the reality of that is it's hard.
I do, and I do have a problem with dropping him off because I don't know if he'll get treated right, and I am very attached. That's why he had never been in daycare because I don't want to leave him. So I got to do better with that. But it's hard. It's hard for me.
That is a beautiful way to express what mothers feel. You're honest, and that's all I want you to do is understand, and we've seen this play out many times in this courtroom. The way you keep him away because you're fearful of how he'll be treated, when Miss Swinton lives with doubt and she's saying, bring him by, and then you won't do it, in her mind, it's like, well, why she not bringing him by?
Yeah.
Because it's not my son's. Like everything just, the cylinders just start working based upon whatever notion is clicking, okay? So Miss Swinton, I need to know, after hearing this testimony, has any of your doubts subsided? Do you feel like you feel differently about this?
Honestly, no.
Okay, that's your truth. I've heard sufficient testimony, and I think it's time we get the results. Jerome? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Swinton versus Walker, when it comes to 1-year-old Josiah Cook, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Cook is the father. Beautiful to see. Beautiful to see.
Now, Your Honor, please tell her, make her bring the child by and see me.
She done said that 10 times in here.
Well, it's the weekend. You want to start this?
Very nice. Grandma, you got the weekends.
But look, the only thing is I can't keep a baby at night. I need my sleep.
You need just your beauty rest? But no, really, this is wonderful to see. I'm so happy to see you all smile at one another. I'm more excited about the fact that you all were able to dialogue in a new way today. And I want to keep that going when you all leave and go talk to Dr. Jeff, learning how to speak with one another, learning how to be honest. Mom, I need you to learn how to get in your lane, right? Now you got to get a lane.
Oh, I'm overstepping or something?
Just a tad. Even though I sympathize and empathize with your pain. Because I know what it's like to love your baby boy, and she does too. You gotta let your son be the father that he needs to be. And if they choose to be in a relationship and work that out and work their family out, you've gotta give them space. And I'm not saying it's not easy. Because once your son came and dropped that dime and said, Mama, I had it out, I know you picked that dime up and ran with it. Because that's how you love your son.
Right.